We can hear you now, fine, Jarlath.
Yeah. Clara will be uploading that in a second now, but I'll give you a background on our structure and functionality and what we're out to achieve in relation to sustainability. And as I said, I'll be joined then by Carol Gleeson, who will take you through our code of practice, which is our framework. So you can go on to the next one, Clara, please. Thank you. So we're a group of 65 businesses, and during 2019, those businesses collectively employed 437 full-time employees and about 576 part-time employees. All of the businesses are involved in tourism directly and some of them indirectly through food or retail. And the network operates from 12 different rural towns and villages in northwest Clare, from Ennistimon to Newquay to Carron to Corofin and to Doolin. So you can go on, please, Clara. Thank you. So our aim, guys, is to work collaboratively to build a sustainable local economy which will benefit the communities socially, environmentally and economically. And you can go on, that's just a photograph of a lot of the different members receiving their Code of Practice Awards a couple of years ago. And the purpose of the network, which was formed over 10 years ago, we recently celebrated 10 years in operation, is to connect the tourism enterprises, enabling them to work together to source training then, which will help them in terms of marketing the destination, ensure better networking between themselves and the tour operators that come in, and as well as that, partnership opportunities, which we'll talk about in a few moments as well. Also, many of the members are very, very focused on conservation and the protection of the delicate environment in which we work. And the network itself provides a framework where they can work together to enhance and develop conservation projects such as Adopt a Hedgerow. So you can go on, Clara, please. Thank you. And over the last 10 years, we've been fortunate to have worked together and achieving some accolades such as the Foodie Towns 2015, the Eden Award back in 2016, the National Geographic Award in 2016 as well, and more recently then the Lonely Planet Award for Community Tourism, which was a fantastic boost to us at the end of the year that was 2020, and again gave people a lot of motivation and faith to stay in the business and work together even further. So you can go on from that, Clara, please. And as a network then, and as the CEO, I'm involved in the ongoing management then of 4 professional contracts. The contracts support the businesses then from web development, marketing coordination, video production, and then food trail development. So we're fortunate to have a lot of support and funding from the various strategic partners, which we'll mention in a few moments. That enables us then to retain these contractors that support the businesses right throughout the pandemic and indeed on into the next year and the next year or two. We also are focused heavily on recruitment and retaining members within the network. That means delivering tangible benefits to members while all the time engaging in conservation projects. And I suppose that brings me on to the Code of Practice, which Carol will take us through after this. Code of Practice is our key framework. We're fortunate as well that we have a huge pool of talent that allows us to develop subgroups, so people that have various interests in relation to conservation, food development, networking, finance, marketing, and as well as a number of other key areas. People are bound by the code to join a subgroup and commit X amount of time per month to developing and delivering service to the network itself. So Clara, you can move on from that. And a prime example of the work of the subgroups was the COVID-19 response, in which we developed e-commerce and started selling our food baskets that went all over the world. And we're a very, very high selling item even on into November and December of last year. They started in March last year. We've also released an online voucher which allowed people to dream now and travel later. They sold well as well. When people wanted to give a gift of the burn to people that they wanted to send and to kind of give a kind of a reason to come. And we also had a COVID-19 safety charter as well, which gave a good reassurance message from the area. And obviously we now use the Falls Ireland version of that. So you can go on, Clara, to the next one, please. And a big focus of our efforts last year, apart from reassuring people that it was a safe destination to come to, was to reassure them of the supply of great accommodation, attractions, visitor experiences, food, and as well as that, to let people know that while the Burn is a vast empty space, it's also teeming with very talented life. great hosts. So we invested a huge amount of our destination marketing budget in the production of these videos, many of those which are out on our platforms at the moment. These were noticed and very much supported by Tourism Ireland and Fáilte Ireland as well, and they've been widely received by the staycation market. And we've a large plan in relation to a support budget for those for the rest of this year and on into 2022. So Clara, you can move on to the next one. And I suppose the objectives of our marketing plan then are to leverage the UNESCO Global Geopark brand, which Carol will talk to you about, to leverage the code of practice and let the public know that they're coming to a very sustainable destination. And even the hotel in the photograph there has been recently awarded carbon neutrality. That's the Falls Hotel in Ennistimon. They harness hydroelectric power, using turbines that make up all of their energy usage in the hotel, 70% anyway. And we're also fortunate to have another carbon neutral hotel in the network. That's Hotel Doolin. They use a heat exchange pump. So neither of those use oil to heat the building. As well as that, we're focused on targeted advertising, especially now that we're in very much dependent on the domestic and Northern Irish market for the rest of this year. That worked very, very well for us last year from once we got open on June 29th. We've also a very, very, I suppose, contemporary and consistent bank of content now that we're confident in using. Clara, you can go on to the next slide from there. A big focus that we had as well was to bring attention to the people behind the businesses, and that gave the network a lot of confidence as well through our video production and through our introduction through press releases and photography. So you can go on to the next one as well, Clara. Thank you. And one big tangible from the network in the last year and a half was the launch of a book called Burn Dinners. It was written by a guy called Travis Gleason. And that was basically a culmination of all the recipes and stories from around the area of the Fertile Rock, which is what the Burn is known as. But again, that gave members a belief in themselves and a belief in the networking ethos and a belief in sustainability. And we took a huge consignment of them. They've all sold. It's gone into the second print now. And again, one of the great tangibles that has come from networking. So you can go on from there, Clara. And I suppose events, we've run a couple of virtual events. The last one was the Burn Food Fair in October, and we have another virtual event starting now on the 29th of April. It's called the Burn Slow Food Festival, that will tell the stories and the connections between the producers and the businesses and how we aim to reduce carbon food miles by working together. So it'll be dairy farmers, cheesemakers, lobster fishermen and hoteliers in conversation with each other, and the focus of that will be on the Fertile Rock and why food is so synonymous with the Burn. So Clara, you can move on from that. And I suppose, as I said to you, conservation is a big part of what we do. The code of practice is central to that, but as well as that, we have a conservation advocacy group that encourage a huge amount of local cleanups as well through what we call Adopt a Hedgerow. So businesses look after their own roads and hedgerows, and as well as that, we get together in groups and look after the various villages and vista points to ensure that they're kept as litter free as possible. This sets a good example, especially in the run up to Earth Day, which is later on this week on April 22nd. So that has been very encouraging for people even during the pandemic. So you can move on to the next one, Clara, please. And I suppose we're fortunate that we have some fantastic partners, especially when it comes to funding all of our efforts. Our funding comes from membership fees, which are collected once a year. So we've got to make sure we deliver value to members to keep them motivated to contribute. As well as that, we have some excellent strategic partners, such as Fáilte Ireland, Tourism Ireland, as well as local authority support from Clare County Council, and indeed from Leader and CLDC. We are also involved in a couple of sponsorships, including the likes of Keller Bio LPG that sponsor our events. So you can move on from there, Clara. And lastly, this is the second last slide, the sustainability message that we have is very much built on the collaboration between the communities, the caring together for the landscape, the commitment to the code of practice, which is very well managed by the Burn and Cliffs of Moher Geopark office, supporting members and ensuring that they're looked after throughout tough times like a pandemic, and as well as that, collective destination marketing that has provided a huge basis for members to stay with us and to keep on investing their time and their resources, and above all then contributing to the wider community and ensuring that the jobs that are involved in tourism are sustained indeed themselves So making the individual businesses more sustainable, more profitable, in turn helps the wider community, and that's very much what we talk about on a weekly basis when we meet on platforms such as this. So I think that's the last one. Clara, you can go on to the next one maybe. So that's just ourselves at the time of the Lonely Planet Award, with many of our stakeholders there, such as Clare County Council, the Burnett Cliffs and Moor Geopark, and some of the local councillors as well. So that's it from me, guys. Thank you all very much.